when the future arrives quietly. And there are moments when you can almost hear it. I believe that we are living through one of those moments. Not because another app has been launched, not because another AI model has broken another benchmark, but because somewhere in the world today, governments are redrawing supply chains, investors are redirecting trillions of dollars, companies are rethinking where they build, and nations are deciding who they can truly depend on. The rules of the global economy are being rewritten. The question is no longer whether the world will change. The question is who will shape what comes next. And that's exactly why this discussion here in India is the best place to have this conversation. Because what happens here over the next decade will not simply determine India's future, it'll determine the world's future. We hear every day that artificial intelligence will define the 21st century. Perhaps. But I think we're asking the wrong question. The question isn't how intelligent will AI become? The real question is, what will intelligence demand from us? Every breakthrough in artificial intelligence creates an appetite for something surprisingly ordinary. Electricity, data centers, fibers, semiconductors, ports, transmission lines, capital, skills, trust. The world celebrates the algorithm, but it is infrastructure that determines whether innovation changes lives or remains a laboratory experiment. History teaches us something remarkably consistent. The Industrial Revolution wasn't won by whoever imagined the steam engine. It was won by those who built the railways. The digital revolution wasn't defined by who invented the internet. It was defined by those who built the networks. And the AI revolution will not simply belong to those who write the smartest code. It'll belong to those who build the strongest foundations. This is not merely a software race, it's an infrastructure race. Now, consider the world we find ourselves in. Only a few years ago, efficiency was the ultimate business strategy. Build wherever costs are lower, source from anywhere, optimize everything. Today, the conversation has changed. Resilience has replaced efficiency. Security has become an economic asset. Energy independence matters. Trusted digital infrastructure matters. Reliable supply chains matter. National capability matters. And perhaps more importantly, long-term thinking matters again. For decades, we rewarded quarterly performance. The next generation will reward those prepared to invest over decades. That's an extraordinary shift, and it creates one of the largest investment opportunities any of us are likely to witness in our own lifetimes. Now, let me turn to India, because something remarkable has happened here. Not overnight, not by accident, but through years of determined investment. Over the past decade, India has built one of the world's most sophisticated digital public infrastructures. Hundreds of millions of citizens now participate in digital economy, unimaginable only a generation ago. UPI processes billions of digital transactions every month. Digital identity has transformed access to services, and financial inclusion has expanded dramatically. More people are connected, more businesses are formalized, more entrepreneurs can participate in economic growth than ever before. That scale is extraordinary, but scale alone is never enough. The real achievement is that technology here has not only made markets more efficient, it has made opportunity more inclusive. That's much harder to do. And much more importantly, India also possesses something many countries envy: youth, talent, ambition. Every year, hundreds of thousands of engineers enter the workforce. India already contributes to some of the world's most sophisticated software, technology, and engineering programs. Increasingly, those capabilities are staying here, building companies here, creating intellectual property here, developing technologies here. That matters, again, enormously. Because in the economy that's emerging, human capital will become every bit as important as financial capital. Yet, I would offer one challenge, and I say this because I believe deeply in India's potential. Do not think too small. The ambition should not simply be to be one of the world's largest economies. That's an outcome. It is not the prize. The prize is much bigger. The prize is to become the country the world turns to when it needs trusted infrastructure, trusted digital systems, trusted capital, trusted partnerships, trusted innovation. The prize is leadership, not through size alone, not through capability, but through reliability, through confidence. That's a far more enduring source of influence. Because this century will not be defined simply by GDP rankings. It'll be defined by which countries become indispensable. The indispensable countries will attract investment, they will attract talent, they will attract ideas, and ultimately, they will shape the rules others follow. That's the opportunity before India today. Let me briefly tell you about an organization that thinks constantly about horizons measured not in quarters, but in decades. At Brookfield, we have invested over $30 billion in India over almost 2 decades. We don't invest in headlines. Headlines change every day. We invest in systems that will still matter 20 years from now. For example, we are one of the largest foreign investors in critical infrastructure, including Pipeline Infrastructure Limited, which operates India's longest privately owned cross-country natural gas line, spanning approximately 1,500 kilometers from India's east coast to the west. We own Altius, one of the world's largest telecom tower companies, which serves approximately 40% of India's mobile networks. In real estate, we have a hospitality portfolio, the Leela Palaces, Hotels and Resorts, which exemplifies the increasing demand for premium experiential hospitality. And there's also renewable energy. These are the foundations upon which economies continue to grow long after today's headlines have been forgotten. That is why we've invested for almost 2 decades in India, because we believe the structural story is one of the strongest anywhere in the world. Our conviction has only grown stronger. But optimism should never become complacency. The challenges remain significant. Energy demand will accelerate dramatically. AI will require unprecedented computing capacity. Urbanization will test infrastructure. Climate resilience will require enormous investment. Global competition will intensify. And none of these challenges are optional. Every nation will confront them. The difference will be who acts earliest, who acts fastest, and who thinks furthest ahead. There is an old assumption that history belongs to those who react quickest. I no longer believe that. I think history belongs to those who prepare earliest. Preparation has become a competitive advantage. Infrastructure has become strategy. Resilience has become growth. And trust has become currency. So let me finish where I began. The world is changing, not gradually, but fundamentally. The old assumption about trade, security, technology, and economic leadership are giving way to something entirely new. Moments like this do not come often, perhaps once in a generation, perhaps once in a century. But when they arrive, countries face a choice: to adapt or to lead. I believe India has earned the right to think not about catching up, but about setting the pace, not about participating in the next industrial revolution, but about powering it. not about asking what the future will bring, but deciding what future it wants to build. Because the greatest nations do not wait for history, they write it. And if India continues to invest with courage, to innovate with confidence, and to build with ambition, then decades from now, people will not simply say that the AI revolution changed the world. They will say something much more profound, that when the world needed a new foundation for a new era, India helped build it. Thank you very much.